Welcome YouTube to the first ever 24/7 SUPERVIVE playtest. I know you just want to play, so let's get right into the action with some predictions on the meta going into this first Steam Next Fest. Because this test is predominantly pub games, the list is going to look like it, which is why the top that we are seeing for this test is going to include Shiv and Felix ahead of the competition. With the changes to Shiv, a good Shiv is going to dominate over lobbies, and with faster movement speed, it makes sense as to why she can do so. She can close distance incredibly well, and Felix might be the only frontliner that can apply anti-heal to deny her the ability to continue to pop off while everyone else struggles. It seems like this patch is going to be Shiv's world and we are all living in it, but A tier is where it gets spicy, where we start to see Bishop, we start to see Jewel, maybe even some Oath in Brawl as well. Realistically, which of these characters you choose to run alongside a Shiv and a Felix is up to you, in my opinion. Jewel is really strong at comboing an entire enemy team, but struggles against Oath, which is where Bishop comes in to make an enemy Oath struggle, because trust me, the Bishop makes the matchup feel horrible. So yes, currently the triangle looks like Oath defeats Jewel, Bishop defeats Oath, and Jewel defeats everyone if Oath can't play the game. If Jewel is something you want to play for, you can definitely make it work. Now, if you don't even want to deal with any of that and just want the consistency, Brawl should have no issue getting in there and cleaning things up with the Shiv and Felix frontline. I like that about Brawl. Now, B tier expands across a wide range of characters, including characters like Kingpin, like Zeph, like Celeste, Void, and even Myth. Kingpin functions like a Brawl, but has more options in the neutral game, especially when it comes to ending circles. Since this is a pubs focused test though, how many times are you really going to get to an end game circle before a team has 4 gold armors, powers, and souls running at you with no intent of stopping? Zeph is an interesting one for me though to think about. He honestly doesn't really get to heal due to Shiv and Felix being great at spreading anti-heal. But his dash and nade can be incredible at setting up his team to dive more efficiently and effectively. At the end of the day, the problem is, does he live? I feel like most players are going to struggle to do so, and that isn't a problem with the character. It is just not his meta to play in my opinion, unless you play him in a very specific way. Void and Celeste are the two in B tier that could arguably go higher, but since this is again a pubs focused test that is going to be a much faster pace, they tend to struggle. On top of this, if teams do decide to run Oath, the combo with Celeste's ultimate into a Void swap doesn't have nearly as much stopping power as it usually does. Most people should be caught off guard by this though, so they are still some pretty solid options. Myth got a slight nerf to her RMB knockback that was really important against these dive compositions, so naturally characters like those in the B tier are going to struggle when characters are jumping on top of them, which is a big reason for this big swing in the meta, at least within my predictions from the September test. This brings us to Ghost, who does round off the B tier, and I think it speaks for itself. The biggest weakness of Ghost is that he is super easy to catch out of position, or even if he is in position, it is easy to catch him out. There are some poke builds with him that could be really good into what is good right now, but for most people, I think they are going to have a very difficult time. Moving on to the C tier, we have Gunner, who is now named Hudson, and Shrike. The name alone has moved him from D to C tier this patch. Now, honestly, he has got quite the substantial rework that we will have to see how it plays out, but I doubt it's going to make that big of a difference. If you are the GOAT on Hudson, it might be enough to make him really solid. I do kind of doubt it though. Shrike got some interesting changes that make her a bit more active in fights, but again, she is really easy to catch out of position, even more so than Ghost. Not only that, but they made her ultimate easier to hit but do less damage, which I'm not sure I love, but maybe the Shrike players will appreciate that. I'm not so sure. And lastly, with D tier, we have none other than Stalker, now named Jin, and the worst character still in the game, Aluna. Jin's probably going to struggle a lot this patch, mostly because his execute just isn't as effective as it was before. On top of this, you have to go against Felix and Shiv constantly that are just going to kill you before you get to even start the combo. I don't know what this character needs, but he is just not doing that hot nowadays. And then last but certainly least, we do have Aluna. To be honest, I actually think she won't be that bad this patch compared to every other patch she has had. She does more damage, which is handy, but Again, I pose the question, why would you play Aluna over literally any other character? The answer to that question, because she is easy and fun to play. We can't cope anymore, we have to be honest with ourselves and agree that the character just isn't good and needs some kind of sauce to take her to Zeph's level. And that puts us to an end of the predictions for the best character in the upcoming meta. If you want to see these changes in work, I am likely live right now playing with some of the best players in North America, going for the most wins this test. So check in and see if anything is changing. Aside from that, thank you guys all so much for watching, but until next time, I've got to peace out and Paz out. I'll see you in the next one.